ordinary average guy here. Just got a new knife in, the CRKT Pilar with the G10 handles, D2 steel blade. Very excited about this, so went ahead and did a review for you guys on it. Hope you like it. It's my first review of a knife on YouTube, so it's probably not going to be the most fantastic thing you've ever seen, but you know what, I'm working on it. I have another review coming up of this bad boy. I just got it brand new in, so hopefully you'll like that one too. You're gonna have to stay tuned though. But hopefully you like this one on the Pilar, and that you'll trust me to get you some more good advice on some knives in the future. Thanks, guys. Hey everyone, this is my review of the new CRKT Pilar with D2 steel and G10 handles. Let's get after it. So this is a new spin on an old design that CRKT came out with the Pilar, I think, 4 or 5 years ago. It's been around a while. Maybe not that long, but it's been around a while. It's a Jesper Voxnir design. I really like Jesper Voxnir. Jesper's a Viking from, I don't know, Sweden or Norway or one of those places, but he's a Viking that makes Viking knives, and he does some of my favorite knives are Jesper knives, so I really appreciate his work. I got into knives, probably 10 years ago. My first couple knives were Kershaw's and CRKT's, and every time I got a CRKT, I loved it. I don't know what it is. I think it's the polishing they do on their blade, or I don't know. I really enjoy them. But obviously I've grown as a knife, as a knife enthusiast, and CRKT obviously is a cheaper knife brand. But let me just give you some specs on this thing real quick. It's got a G10 handle. That's something they changed from a stainless steel. This used to be an all stainless steel handle. It was this material here, which they have on the other side. So they did change that. It is a frame lock. It does have a pretty decent lockup on it. You can see it's about 50% lockup on it. It is pretty smooth. The lock's pretty smooth. It doesn't stick or grab or anything, and it doesn't have any type of movement at all in there. It's a very, very sturdy knife, but it is a very thick knife stock, which we can talk about here in a minute. But it is a tip up, tip down, right side only. I am a full disclosure here. I am a lefty, so I do like it with the tip down, just because when I hold it with my left hand, this finger falls right on top of that clip there, and it minimizes the amount of hot spots I'll get on my fingers if I was to carry it tip up. I think they put an aluminum backspacer in here too. I think it feels like aluminum, and that does make sense. The original model was 4.2 ounces, and this one comes in right at exactly 3 ounces. So, I think they did a lot of stuff to alleviate weight on this thing. Let's see here. The hardware on it's pretty nice. You can see it's decent hardware. It doesn't look chintzy. It's a nice big, it looks like a T6 or a T7, which is nice. They usually use decent screws on their knives. So let's move on to the blade. The blade's D2. The original version was 8CR13 MOV, which is a crappy knife steel. A lot of people hate that knife steel. It's a basic knife steel that people use in the knife industry. Companies like CRKT and Kershaw, and they tend to use them. I do think that knife companies will start using D2 as their standard knife steel, just because it's a cheaper knife steel, but it does have great edge retention. The only thing it's really lacking in is corrosion resistance. But besides that, I think if I see a D2 steel blade, I automatically assume that it's going to be a much better blade than an 8CR13 MOV or OS 8. But it is an upgraded steel that they did use. But one thing they really missed the boat on, guys, is the hardware, the washers. It is they did use Teflon again on this one, which CRKT just use phosphor bronze. I mean, it would make this just a much better knife overall. So you look, guys, obviously you've probably seen a Pilar. I have in my life, and I wanted to get one just because it looks so different. And I do like a good sheep's foot blade. You know, I'm a sucker for a sheep's foot. Just like call me a Montanan or a New Zealander, depending on what kind of part of the world you live in. But you know, I do like sheep's foot blades. I think they're very utilitarian, very effective. I do like a nice flat surface for a cutting edge. But you know, when I got this thing, guys, it wasn't as sharp as I like my new knives to be. I just ran it. I gave it about 5 minutes on a Spyderco sharp maker, and it was you could shave the hair off a spider's arse with it, as they say. So it is a very thick stock on this thing. It's 0.15, which you can compare it to, like, say which is about the same size knife. Which you can compare it to the Spyderco Dragonfly, and it is, as you can see, much thicker. But it is, I mean, it's a much more heavy use knife than this Spyderco is. It is a flat grind on the blade, and it does use this Spidey hole, or the Jesper Spidey hole, whatever you want to call it. He likes this kind of oval-shaped Spidey hole. It is not a flicky knife at all. You can't flip this thing out at all. I can't anyway. But it is fairly smooth. I don't know if they fixed that from the last model. The first model I had checked out, the stainless steel version, it wasn't as smooth as this. So I do think that they smoothed some things out with it. But it does have that great purchase on it, that great, it feels really good in hand. I like it. A lot of people like a neutral handle on their knife. I like a good finger choil. I like a place to put my finger up when I choke up on the blade like that. And it is a nice thick blade there. You don't feel like you're gonna slip up onto the blade at all when you're using this thing. I like it. It's a very non-aggressive knife. Like, you can pull this thing out anywhere, and it just looks like, a box cutter or a utilitarian knife. I work a lot in the corporate world, and I would have no problem pulling this thing out and cutting open a bag or a box, or cutting strings or something, whatever I need to do with it. But my overall impression on this thing is, I've always wanted a Pilar. I never got one because they were just too heavy. It was only a $30 knife, so obviously you're not going to be getting S35VN on it. But I do think that they addressed the 2 out of 3 of the biggest issues they had with the original version, and I am pretty happy with this knife. I do like it. It's light in the pocket. It does have a nice beefy blade. It's not a knife if you want to be cutting tomatoes. It's definitely not the best thing in the world for that. But for cutting open boxes and bags, and I do a lot of cutting. I own a food truck and run a catering business, so I do a lot of opening of stuff, and it works really great for that. And it is super non-aggressive. That's another big part of this knife that I do like. It's just people just aren't going to notice it. So if you were interested in getting a Pilar, but you never got one because it was a big chunk of stainless steel and it was just too heavy, give this one a look. I think they did address 2 out of the 3 biggest issues they had. I'm a sucker for Jesper Voxner designs, and I really do like this one. But you do have to get over the fact that it does have Teflon washers, and that's a big no for a lot of people. That's a big that's a big point that they won't be able to get by. So, I am able to get by it on this one, but, I think CRKT, if they could just fix that issue, I mean, start using some phosphor bronze washers, make D2 your standard steel. I think that will address two huge issues that CRKT has, because their designs are fantastic. They have some great designs. They work with Ken Onion, Jesper Vox, and they have a ton of really great knife designers that they work with. And if they can just get the quality of the materials that they use up just a little bit, like they did here on the CRKT Pilar, I just think that they're they'll have a lot more enthusiasm in the knife community. So I hope you like this, guys. It was my first video. Please leave any comments below about how much you hated it. You know, if you're gonna say anything about my voice, trust me, I hate it too. I cringe every time I hear it. So you know, let me know what you think. I promise I'll get better at this, guys, and I do appreciate anybody that does watch it. You know, I'm gonna release a video. My next video is gonna be, I just got a new steel wheel knife that is really cool, and I think you guys are gonna like it. So I'm gonna do a video here soon of that, and hopefully you'll watch it. But if anybody did watch this, I appreciate it and hope that this was helpful and informative. I hope that you'll listen to the next one. Thanks.